Batman Arkham Knight is the fourth game in the series that takes place 9 months after the events of Arkham City, when a mysterious figure called the Arkham Knight appears in Gotham, bringing with him a militia force to take over the city. He allies himself with the Scarecrow as they set out on their quest for revenge. Batman must once again put on the cape and cowl in what will be the longest night of his life, as he tries to stop the threat of Scarecrow's fear toxin spreading across the city, all the while trying to uncover the identity of the Arkham Knight. In this first of 3 videos, I'll be covering the main story and side missions. I've managed to put together as many Easter eggs, references, and any other points of interest that I could find. And if you do enjoy this and want to watch part 2, then subscribe. That way you can stay up to date on all future videos I put up. Now it's time to save Gotham City. At the start of the prologue, the cutscene leading up to the building reveals the name Paulie's Diner, named after the writer Paul Dini, who wrote the story for the earlier Arkham games, as well as the 90s animated series. When the scene switches to Officer Owens' POV as he enters the diner, the man on the right who's about to walk out of shot is the Arkham series director Sefton Hill, and the customer who gives the tip before leaving is the writer and lead designer Ian Ball. In fact, mostly everyone in the diner are Rocksteady designers. This guy wearing a Batman mask is based on the YouTuber BatDad, who uploads funny videos of himself with his family while wearing the mask, and has gained millions of views from his videos. There are various things around the diner that refer back to past events or future stories that will be revealed in the game. The 4 missing people that are infected by Joker's poison blood are being held by Batman and Robin within the Panessa Studios. A Stag Industries poster shows the 2 blimps that Batman will later board. A not-so-subtle recruitment ad by Two-Face is hiring criminals for his plot to rob the Gotham banks. And some of the newspapers, as well as the TV, recalls the events at Arkham City. On a closer look at the diner's menu, you can find some of the food titles are named after other cities in the DC lore. Bloodhaven is the home of Nightwing, and Keystone is the home of 2 speedsters, Jay Garrick and Wally West. And Falcone is named after one of Gotham's crime families. Both Two-Face and Penguin gang members can be found eating in the same diner and are seated at separate tables that couldn't be more further apart. And to add to this, if you look out of the window long enough, you may see either Two-Face's garbage trucks or Penguin's North refrigeration vans driving by in the middle of their illegal activities. On one wall are 3 travel posters referencing more DC locations. Metropolis is the home of Clark Kent. Vlatava is an Eastern European country where the supervillain Count Vertigo was born. And Markovia is a country Batman travelled to in a story where he forms the superhero group called the Outsiders. When Officer Owens confronts the red-hooded figure, he and the other patrons are then subjected to the fear toxin. At this point, the player has to decide whether or not to shoot the imaginary demons that will later change certain dialogues if Batman talks to the cops at GCPD.
God knows how we got out without shooting anyone. The people in that diner tore each other apart.
Is it just me? The toxins don't seem to be wearing off.
I hope you're wrong. He's going through hell in there. Yep, poor bastard. He ain't gonna be able to live with himself when he finds out what he did in that diner.
He's gonna lose his badge for sure.
At any point in the game, while chasing down a militia vehicle, by pausing at the right moment as they fire back at the Batmobile and going into photo mode, you can zoom in closer to the bullet to see the name Deadshot, who's a villain that appeared in 2 previous games in the series. In Chinatown, the dojo where Poison Ivy is being held has a poster nearby. The dojo is named after its instructor, Kairi Tanaga, a character from the animated series who trained alongside Bruce Wayne and later appeared in Batman Beyond as an elderly instructor. At the GCPD, you can approach each of the NPCs to hear what they have to say, whether police officers or the rescued. When Batman is near to one of them, you can see their names appear by the button prompt. These are all names of the game developers. Aaron Cash's family photo is seen on the desk near to him, and makes a return after appearing in all of the 3 previous games. In the maximum security lockup is a whiteboard showing 3 familiar names of detectives from DC lore. Renee Montoya made her debut in the animated series. Harvey Bullock was established in the comics and made his one and only appearance in the series in Arkham Origins. John Jones, aka Martian Manhunter, is an alien refugee from Mars who takes on a human form to blend in where he often works as a police detective. The evidence room contains various supervillain weapons and gadgets recovered by the police that you can interact with. One of the most significant things that can happen here is if Batman interacts with Talia's sword display, he'll take a moment to mourn her.
Talia.
Around the offices are wanted posters, showing the names and mugshots of developers as criminals with a humorous profile. Sarah York, aka the Marshmallow Thief, will even reappear on another wanted poster in Nightwing's Arkham episode DLC. Another developer name appears on this LED sign. Dr. Teichman refers to the environment artist Martin Teichman. There's a hidden interaction that can happen with the first captured militiaman. By pressing the punch button, Batman will knock him out. You can try this for a second time by scaring the militiaman for the same result. Inside the clock tower, and later in Wayne Tower, you can interact with the stone bust of Shakespeare that homages the one seen in the 60s TV series. By looking at Oracle in detective mode, you can see her fractured spine. Before the character reveal of Man-Bat on the next island, he can be briefly seen after leaving the clock tower for the first time. After Batman's talk with Gordon, Man-Bat can be seen gliding near the film studio and away from the direction of his lab. Before rescuing the first hostage in Ace Chemicals, you can find in a nearby locker an Alice in Wonderland book, last seen in the previous 2 games in the Mad Hatter side missions. A vial can be found on a table with a label that reads Copperhead Poison, in reference to the assassin from Arkham Origins who used a deadly poison against Batman in their last battle. There's something that can be missed during the tank battle, as you're easily preoccupied with the chopper and supporting drone units, but by looking at the top of the building, you can find the Arkham Knight watching. If you try firing at him, then the Knight will disappear. There's a locker that has the name Ray Palmer on it with a symbol. This refers to the superhero known as the Atom, who has the ability to shrink in size. Found all over the city are these green bottles that says on the side Young's Tonic. This may be a reference to Dr. Penelope Young, a character killed off in the first game while she was trying to make her own elixir of sorts called Titan, in the hopes of curing the criminally insane. There's a periodic table that shows a fictional metal called Nth. Nth metal originated from Thanagar, which is the home planet to many men and women superheroes who wear the Hawk mantle, and the metal is able to negate gravity, allowing them to fly. You can discover what happened to Commissioner Gordon's missing cops that were sent into Ace Chemicals. By going into the green-lit part of the large chamber where Scarecrow is, you can find the pit where the cops' bodies have been dumped in, and Batman will even respond to this.
Dead cops. Fear-gassed. The men Jim had on guard.
After the Scarecrow escapes the chamber, look on the floor nearby, and you'll find his old mask from Arkham Asylum. When Batman meets with Gordon back in GCPD, Joker makes a reference to the event of Barbara's shooting, a story used for the game that was inspired by the graphic novel The Killing Joke, in which Joker showed Gordon disturbing pictures of his daughter's injuries to try and turn him insane.
Reminds me of the time I had something to tell old Jimbo myself. Now on that occasion I found visual aids helpful. That was a bad day. Fun though.
This continues further when Batman reaches the clock tower and starts to hallucinate the day of the shooting. A curious side note to Joker's cap is that it says flashback in the game, but in the character showcase, the cap instead shows the word liar. In one of the mid-level rooms within the clock tower is Oracle's computer. A closer view of the screen shows the Birds of Prey logo, who are a mostly all-female superhero team that Oracle is a part of. A message exchanged between her and Huntress reveals that she's helping the city evacuees on the mainland. And both the bird image along with the initials BC refers to the Black Canary. When searching the video feed for Oracle, Victor Zsasz, who appeared in 2 of the previous Arkham games, will make a brief appearance on camera 1 in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. Further investigation of the militia vehicle that Oracle was taken in reveals the tyres were made by Amatec Industries. This military-industrial firm are involved with the illegal sale of weapons to criminals and are an enemy to the superhero Steel. In Wayne Tower, there's a dog bowl by the bar that has the name Ace. This is Bruce Wayne's pet, Ace the Bat-Hound, who's often portrayed as a crime-fighting canine. Nearby, you can play back voicemail messages from several characters in the DC lore. Lucius Fox will even react to hearing Vicky Vales' nickname for Bruce Wayne.
Look, if it's about that article, blame Ryder. I had nothing to do with it, I swear. Call me, okay? I miss you, Brucey.
Brucey?
Lex Luthor is the archenemy of Superman.
Come now, meet with me. I'm sure we can come to an agreement. A man of your refined taste doesn't need an applied sciences division after all. He needs another $1 billion.
Bruce, it's Kate. You're coming to Maggie and I's engagement thing next week, aren't you? No one's seen you in months, Bruce. And you taught me the importance of keeping up appearances.
Kate Kane is Batwoman, who's marrying Maggie Sawyer, an officer of the Special Crimes Unit in the Metropolis PD. And if Batman is still hallucinating, he'll get 2 unique messages from the Joker.
Bruce, this is your mother calling now. I just wanted to say... Oh, sorry. It's so funny, you know, 'cause they're dead.
In the first weapons smuggling location, Penguin's family painting can be found on the wall. It seems to have sentimental value to him, as it's seen in his gang's museum in Arkham City and in the office of his ship in Arkham Origins. After finding all the Riddler trophies on Stag's airships, you can listen to the interview tapes from Dr. Alex Sartorius. In the comics, Sartorius was exposed to radiation, turning him into the villain Dr. Phosphorus.
Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself, didn't I? My name is Alex Sartorius, Dr. Alex Sartorius. And this? Well, I suppose this is my confession.
For the most observant players, you can find a clue in the scene where Barbara supposedly shoots herself to see that it's all in Batman's head. Just before she does it, Joker will push the gun across the table toward her. As Joker is just an hallucination, so too is the gun. In Panessa Studios, there's a couple of game show signs with the name Arthur Brown on them. This is the villain Cluemaster, who's a failed game show host turned criminal that likes to leave clues to his crimes. The code required to enter Stage C and confront Johnny Charisma is based on a particular date. May 1939 is the month when Batman made his first appearance in Detective Comics. Also, if you enter the wrong code a number of times, Batman gives up and smashes the keypad instead. In the Arkham Knight headquarters, there are posters promoting real-life Gothic literature. The Telltale Heart and the Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe, as well as Bram Stoker's Dracula, are likely books that inspired many writers and artists to mimic its darker themes into their Batman storylines. After placing Robin in the cell in Panessa Studios, there's an optional thing that the player can do. Before leaving, you can tell Robin about the death of Barbara, and this will get a strong reaction from him.
Tim, there's something you need to know. Something's happened.
No, not her. Don't say it.
She's dead. I'm sorry.
Let me out.
I can't. They're targeting everyone close to me. I won't let them get you as well.
Bruce, please. I have to do this.
No.
You son of a bitch! How dare you!
But once the Arkham Knight is defeated, you can go back to let him know that Barbara's alive to get another reaction. His lack of words says it all.
I found Barbara. She's fine.
Before Batman confronts the Scarecrow, there are signs of Jason Todd taking on a redemptive role. His red symbol is first seen on the wall of the storage depot. Inside the truck, Alfred informs Batman that someone is tracking the vehicle, alluding to Red Hood.
Master Bruce, can you hear me? I'm detecting someone tracking your movement through the city.
I knew he would.
And later returning to the lab at Panessa Studios, the symbol can be found on the floor in the center of the room. In the cutscene where the van is driving Batman back to Arkham Asylum, the images are similar to the intro from the first game. In Joker's segment, his ultimate attack in the Joker-mobile is named after the comic The Killing Joke. There are some Gotham Herald newspapers shown to Joker that obviously fails to shock him, but it's the article about a trial that has some particular interest, as it's a funny piece about 3 Rocksteady designers. Lead designer Ian Ball is the prosecuting attorney accusing Noel Chamberlain of murdering his fellow designer Johnny Armstrong, but defends himself by placing the blame on Victor Zsasz. After completing a certain number of Most Wanted missions, you can activate the Nightfall Protocol to see the game's true ending. The name is based on a story arc from the early 90s, which resulted in Bane breaking Batman's back, a story that was confirmed to have happened in the Arkham universe prior to Arkham Asylum. In the final cutscene, when the crowd of onlookers stand in front of Wayne Manor, for a brief moment, Calendar Man can be seen among them. This is significant because of a statement Julian Day made in Arkham City that alluded to this moment.
Days were the secret, Batman, and the end of days is coming. I was there at your beginning, and I will be there at your end.
Onto the side missions. While trying to save Jack Ryder from Deacon Blackfire, his cult can be heard chanting in Latin. These lines spoken are actually taken from the Bible in Revelations chapter 6 verse 8.
Et ecce ecus pallidus, et qui sedebat de super, nomen illi mors et inforas. Sequebatur iam et data et illi, potestas super quatuor, partes terrae interfectarum, gladio fame.
If you talk to Jack Ryder after the mission, he'll mention a couple of optional titles to use for his book.
So, Batman, book titles. I'm thinking Blackfire, Blackheart. Jack Ryder uncovers a true story of modern-day human sacrifice in Gotham. Or maybe just The Cult.
The Cult was the name of the comic that Blackfire first appeared in. If you return to Kirk Langstrom's lab after the side mission is completed, you'll find his wife's body missing, and a message left behind, alluding to Dr. Francine Langstrom's transformation into She-Bat. A unique event can happen after Kirk Langstrom is captured. When the side mission is over, by setting the console's data to October 31st, 2015, another jump scare by Man-Bat will occur, before disappearing for good. Returning to GCPD will reveal that Langstrom had escaped from his cell. In the reception office of Wayne Tower, there are some more references to developer names. The receptionist is named after the lead interior environment artist, Glenn Saberton. and the golden plaque on the wall names 2 other environment artists. While Azrael is waiting for Batman, you can throw a batarang at him. In Arkham City, when this happened, Azrael would simply catch them, but this time he takes the hits, and can be heard grunting as the batarangs bounce off of him. While investigating a spate of murders, Alfred will make a reference to the comic book arc, The Long Halloween.
This is becoming rather ghastly, sir. It brings to mind a spate of murders at the beginning of your career. It was Halloween then, if I'm not mistaken. Turned out to be rather a long one, if I recall.
Inside the Pretty Dolls parlour are several advertisements promoting Janus products, which was a business front for Black Mask's illegal drugs operations in Arkham Origins. Also along the wall, there are a couple of pictures showing Wayne Manor. Whether this is intentional or just coincidental, Penguin's North refrigeration smuggling business may be named after Nolan North, who's Penguin's voice actor in all of the Arkham games he's appeared in. In another Penguin hideout, there's a stuffed hyena that was once the pet of Harley Quinn, and was last seen on display in the museum in Arkham City. During the Two-Face robbery of the Bank of Gotham on Founders Island, if you go to the children's play area on the 2nd floor, you'll see a bunch of drawings along the board. A closer look at one of them will reveal a picture of Joker and the dynamic duo. On the top floor of the same bank, there's a back room with a putting mat and a set of golf clubs. But what's interesting about it is what's found written on this board. It appears that employees of the bank have been gambling with their customers' money, and Rob looks to be doing well. In the Pinckney Orphanage reception area, there's another book that can be found here that is based on an actual Gothic literature, and a few may know this popular title as it's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. After completing each of the Riddler's challenges throughout the city, Batman has to then stand on a pressure pad to relay the correct glass key case to Catwoman. This has to be done 6 times, and as the key displays are positioned to form a particular letter, then you'll see that the 6 letters spell Batman. There's a small room next to the Riddler's final challenge area that has a familiar looking item on the table. This bomb helmet was Riddler's own device used by Batman to pacify him after he was defeated in Arkham City. Now this is something you're not obviously going to notice in the middle of a race, but due to Riddler's obsession for writing his thoughts anywhere and everywhere, you'll find that he's left clues as to what he plans to do in each lap of the race, right next to the death trap in question. Besides these, there are plenty of funny things to read that range from insulting Batman, to thinking up a villainous name for his elevators, like in the previous games, you can activate Big Head mode by holding the 2 trigger buttons while rotating the right stick clockwise until their heads change size. On the character showcase, there are some small details to point out that would have been more difficult to see in the main game. In one of Joker's pockets, there's a handkerchief that Harley left for him marked with a kiss. Oracle's necklace has the initials FG, as well as a flying Grayson's badge on her jacket. Dick Grayson was the first Robin. On a closer look at the face of Hush, it becomes more apparent where his scars are after operating on himself to look like Bruce Wayne. And Harley's minigun brutes have a tattoo on their arms that reads Harley Quinn's Revenge, the same title given to the Arkham City DLC. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video and hope you enjoyed it. So there's still 2 more Arkham Knight Easter egg videos to follow. In the next one I will be doing a deep dive into each of the 3 islands and a further look into the interior locations. And the 3rd video I will be covering all the DLC content. I'm also going to create a poll which will be up on my channel shortly, listing 5 games, so you can choose which one of the 2 most popular titles I'll cover after the Arkham Knight videos. So if you haven't yet and you want to see more content like this, then subscribe. That way you can stay up to date on all future videos I put up. And as always, thanks to all of you who have subscribed and are helping to make this channel grow. So until the next video, bye everyone.